Hey everyone, in our last video we set up a code build agent locally, laying the groundwork for our next step. Today we are going to take it further by learning how to build a Docker image and push it to AWS ECR, all using the same setup. So if you want to see like how did we set up, please go and watch the previous video. Whether you are looking to streamline your development process or enhance your CICD pipeline, this is a crucial skill to have. So let's jump right in and get started. Okay, so this is what we are going to do in this video, which is basically those two steps. So we are going to build the Docker image and we are going to push it to the ECR using the credentials on our local machine. So by now what we have done is like we have covered all those steps till here. So it is not going to take that longer what the previous video took. So we are just going to get start, and here we go. To get started, we are going to have this buildspec.yml changed. So what we are going to do is let's make it so that we can actually have a containerized build, and we also need a Docker file. So let's get started with writing a Docker file first. Okay, so this is like from, and we are going to use Golang, and the version should be 1.20, and I'm going to use Alpine as the builder. Okay, only if I can type builder, and the work directory should be app, and I'm going to copy everything I have in my current directory to app. Okay, then the next command I would like to run is go get API autocomplete. Okay, so while I want to run this, I want to have a smaller footprint of our Go application. So cgo enabled is a flag which will give us a smaller footprint. That means it will not embed any native C libraries and won't look out for any. And I'm going to go build, and my output is going to be here. So go build will build a file called API, and yeah, that would be all. This is the go build command I should have, I guess, and then I'll say run chmod +x for app, and the output is API. So in the path API from the workdir, I'll have a executable by the name API, because the project go mod, the module is API. Okay, so kind of we are done with building. Just 4 more lines and we shall be done. So Alpine latest is what I'm going to use to host it, and then I am going to run mkdir, and let's say I want to drop it into a directory called out, and now I want to copy this file from builder to this image. Okay, so how do I do that is copy, and from builder, and the file name from the previous builder image is API, and I want to copy it to my out directory. And finally I want to say I want to do a cmd, and I want to run the command. When I run this, which is API, yeah, so kind of that's it. Yeah, this is what I want. So we are done with the Docker file, and now let's quickly jump on to writing the buildspec.yml. We can have multiple buildspec.ymls, by the way. So what we are going to do is like we are going to create a buildspec.yml, and I'll call it buildspec.docker.yml. So this is how what we are going to do while we shall be building, we will override the default buildspec.yml. Okay, so that would be another feature which you should be looking at. So now just in a couple of minutes, let me create a buildspec.yml, and the phases are I want to have since I want to do a login to the ECR as a pre-build, I would like to write it in pre-build, and there would be like a few commands which will go in. So commands, okay, then the commands is basically list of strings, so I'll go echo and I'll say log into ECR, yeah. And then the default command to log into ECR is AWS ECR get login password. Then I need to provide the region, which is I'm going to say AWS default region, and then I need to log into Docker via Docker login command. I need to pass two things. One is the username, which is AWS, which should be AWS as per the documentation, and then I need to use password. Okay, now this password is what I'm going to provide from standard input, and what is that standard input? Standard input is this. So this will get the password. This will pipe in this password as a standard input to this command. Okay, let me do a word wrap view, and I can see the word wrap here. Okay, fine, so that you can see the command in one go. Okay, now I need to just write the this is the URL to our ECR. So I already have an ECR. So what I'm going to do is like, okay, this is my account ID .dkr .ecr $a only, if I can write that, AWS default region, and then Amazon AWS.com. Okay, so you don't need to remember this command. This is available on the official documentation of ECR. Okay, now the next step would be next phase I would say would be the build commands. So and build, I have more commands to come in, and I'm going to say echo build docker image, and now I need two things. I need one which is echo $image repo name, and also I need image underscore tag. So where are we going to get those things from? We are going to create an env file which should have all those things which we need. Then finally we are going to build the docker image. So docker build, and I will say I'm going to tag it with this. So let me copy this and paste it here. So this is what I need. Then I'll say build from the take the context from the current library, and I'll pass platform Linux. Okay, fine. Finally I'll docker tag and image repo name. So basically this is what I want to tag. So I'll just copy this and just paste it here. And finally what I want to do here is that how do I want to tag it? I'd like to have it here, tag with this one, and then here copy and paste. Okay, that's our docker tag. And finally, after we are done building, we want to run a post build phase which should have the commands to push it to the repository here, this one. So we are going to push, so push image. I should have a new keyboard, I think. Okay, now this is what we are going to use, so I'll just take this command, paste it here. I don't want to do anything with this, but just to push it. Okay, so that should be all. The only thing which we need here is an N file which should have the repo name and image tag and other things. So what we are going to do here is that we should have an N file here. So I'll just create an environment file and I'll call it N file. Okay, so that would be like pretty simple, and I'll add the tags from here. So let me split the screens. N file buildspec docker YAML. What do I need? I need this, and then I need this, and then I need this, and I guess those 4 things should do. Those 4 are the variables which I am going to read. Okay, so we are kind of done with this. Let me have those values. So I have a repository with the name dev go API, and the image tag, let's say I say v1, whatever. The account ID and the region, so region is going to be AP South 1. So we are pretty much done with everything. Let's issue a few commands and we shall be seeing them happening. Let's jump onto the console, and from here we are going to run the commands. So we are here and we just created a buildspec-docker.yml. So let's create the command which we want to issue. Okay, we'll get started with the command which we want to issue. So this is the script we are going to issue. Then we need an input image, so we are going to get that input image from Docker images, and yeah, this is our build image, and this is what we are going to use as a build image. So I am pasting it here, no typos please. 4.0 is the tag, and then I need output directory. So this is going to be my output directory where I checked out my code and where I am doing the code basically, but I would like to segregate it in the case if there are some artifacts. In this case we do not have an artifact which is physically going to be present in that bin directory because we are going to create a Docker image. Then I would say -s, and this is my source directory. So this is going to be my source directory because I checked out my code here and I am doing my all the stuff here. Now please take care of this flag. So you need to add this flag sensibly just after the source, because I was trying to put this flag at the end of the command and it was not working. So I need to say I want to override my build spec file, and this is going to be my build spec file. So I want to use this build spec-docker.yml because that is the file which I want to use now. And this is how you can actually switch between multiple versions locally when you are doing development, because this is what we do. That okay, we are not going to touch the one which is pristine, which is coming from the Git repo. I want to do some R&D on, let's say, some other file, and I want to use that. So this is how you can override your build spec while doing this. And then there's another flag in CodeBuild which says build spec override clearly, in which you can actually provide a local build spec so that you can utilize that. So this is how a build spec override is a very useful feature which is provided by CodeBuild. Now let's jump to the image, the local image for CodeBuild. So it is public.ecr /CodeBuild and local builds, but again I don't want to make any typos as this video is getting delayed to get published. So yeah, this is what I want to use, and I'm going to use ARC64. And for the late joiners, once again, the trick to make that work was like I just checked off this Rosetta, so I am able to utilize this as my local image, else it would throw some errors, so you can go back and check the first video, and then you can have like the flavor like why we are using arc64 and why we have disabled that option in our Docker engine. Okay, then what next is, since we are building a Docker image out of this whole setup, we want to run this image as a privileged image. So what we are going to do here is that we are going to say that, okay, I need to run the local build image in privileged mode, and the flag is -d. So you must provide this when you are doing this. Now finally, we needed image tag, we needed image repo name, then we need AWS account ID. Those things we have already provided in an N file previously, so I'm going to pass that N file. But how would we push them to the cloud? How do we push them to AWS ECR? So we need to provide some credentials. So what I'm doing is, like, I'm utilizing my default AWS credentials file, which is here, and from this I want to pick the profile default. So let's say if you are working on multiple projects, then you have multiple profiles. So you may choose your credentials files using -c, and you may choose your profile from that credential file using the flag -p, and that would be all. I'm going to hit the command and let's see what happens. So it is logging into ECR, so that's I guess successful. Now it is running the command docker, and since it is Go, it shall be real quick. And yeah, I can see that it says layer already exists because of maybe my previous setup practices. And yeah, it's kind of done. So let's go back and let's see what we got here. So if I go here, I see Docker images, and I can see that, yeah, it pushed something 22 seconds ago. So this is the image which we have got locally, and this is like, it is retagged like this because the image ID is same. So let's go back to the portal and see what happens here. And yeah, we have a v1 image which is pushed just now. So yeah, the times. Okay, so this is it. This is how we can actually have a complete setup of code build to build the binaries locally, which is covered in my previous video. And if you want to have a flavor of like how to build Docker images and how to push them to ECR, then this video would be a useful guide to do that. I hope that would help you out in cutting your time to deployment, from development to deployment basically, and you shall be able to achieve your targets easily. So yeah, that's it in this video. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next video. Thank you.